Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the steps that you should be taking right before summer starts for your Phalaenopsis orchids. Your phals may have gone through a rough winter this year. We had a lot of very cold temperatures and unstable temperatures in the spring. So here's a quick tip on what you could be doing to help your phals perform their best during the summer. First off, let's make sure to check the moss toppings, or shall we say the moss top dressing. I top dress my phals every single year because they have to cope with very low humidity in the winter. And of course, lots of torrential rain in the summer. But this year it's been a bit different. It's been super dry. So here's what we're going to do. Sometimes the evidence of moss being decayed is quite obvious. My moss here could do with some, well, replacement. I haven't replaced this one in 2 years. As you can see, there's like stuff growing in the moss, which isn't necessarily terrible, but it could look better. If you look here, I haven't watered this one yet, but the moss has not gone all green and covered in algae, so I can actually leave this one. It is topped in moss and planted exclusively in leca, which I don't usually do for my phals, but this one did not respond well to a moisture retentive mix, so I ended up putting it in a dry mix with just moss on the top, which was what it wanted. Sometimes you do have to experiment. Here we go again, with the roots looking happy enough, but the moss is definitely old. Time to change it. Here we go again. We see moss that is in better condition. So take a look at your moss. Make sure you have some fresh top dressing for your phals. Here's a sorry little Phalaenopsis. This is Phal Citrus Candy. It went through some cold damage upon delivery over 2 years ago and it has not recovered. It kept losing leaves. I'm down to 1 leaf now. I don't know if it will ever survive, but it has 1 root and 1 leaf. We can pray and hope. Anyway, so as you can see, let's take a look at the other phals. Your summer phals might be getting ready to bloom right now. You can see some new spikes on them. My Phalaenopsis bellina candy apple decided to dry her spike. That sucks. And I do have to change the moss on this one. She's been in the same pot for like 2 years, maybe 3. As you can see here, I have a brand new friend growing in the pot. Yeah, time to fix that. Whereas the other one right here, this is one I used to call my little ugly phal. Got this one from Louisiana Orchid Louisiana Orchid Connection. Phal Happy Eagle crossed to Traspis. I won't be switching out the moss on this one as yet. It just actually opened its blooms. My hair just got caught in one of these things. Yeah, it just opened up its little ugly blooms. It has the weirdest blooms. It makes it look as if it's diseased, but that's the influence of Tetraspis, which is very interesting indeed. See? Look at that. Anyway, here we go with Amboinensis still showing off her flowers. Let's look at the other phals up here. Botrytis. Botrytis is going on this flower here. I got this from IKEA once, 3 years ago. And this one was out in the elements for a while. It got rained on a lot. Nothing happened to her roots, but her flowers have these nice little spots on them, which is not from the flower itself. The flower is supposed to look like this. This is the flowers when it's infected with botrytis. Now, once I have touched this, I will now not touch the other phals as I continue to explain the things about this video, because you never know how contagious these things are. Yeah. This one will not be getting a repot either. I don't like disturbing the fowls. They don't mind it, but I'm not going to be disturbing that one at all. Okay, let me touch with my other hand. Here's my other Costco fowl. And as the blooms age, some of them can look as if they have botrytis as well, or probably do. Now I get to touch none of them because I just use both my hands in that spotty looking thing. My other one here, I have this plant potted in lava rock and topped with moss. Again, this did not tolerate a moisture retentive mix as many people think some phals do. Most of them like the moisture, but there are a few that like to stay on the drier side. Usually when Schilleriana comes into play in some of them, the crosses, they prefer a drier mix. Speaking of Schilleriana, let's go check out my Schilleriana cross. One of my lovely subscribers here just informed me that his was in spike and mine is not. Ah, you little traitor. But it is growing. 1 second. That was my daughter. I love how they enjoy the interruptions right when I'm doing something. It is growing roots happily. And I keep this fowl as dry as can be. And that's what it seems to prefer. If I smother it with like top dressing, it will lose all these nice happy root tips. And I'm not going to disturb it at all because it got some cold damage in the winter, and thankfully the leaf that was damaged fell off and it's now recovering. Please pardon the interruptions. Yes. And yeah, so this one, Foul Schilleriana, tends to like a lot of airy, drier mixes, and I learned my lesson with this guy and my other pure Schillerianas, which I ended up selling because it was just a bit too fussy for me. I thought it could be happy in someone else's environment. Sometimes you gotta know when to quit. So the cross was way better in this environment. It could tolerate a whole lot more. This is Pink Bee. Pink Bee definitely needs a repot, and you have to make sure you keep on top of this because you don't want the roots to actually suffer. I'm not going to really touch it because I was touching those foul flowers that looked a bit dodgy, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, looking here, the moss is just covered in algae, and I'm not comfortable with that, so I'm going to change their moss dressings. Of course, give them fresh moss toppings. I'm not going to repot many of them. The moss on the top can actually get older faster than the potting mix itself, which is very interesting, you know. But you know, that's how it goes. Like, I can show you this one. Let's go here. This is my IKEA Sweet Memory Leodoro lookalike. Such a beautiful Phalaenopsis. Let's look at her roots. See, the mix looks nice and fresh. We've got an escapee here. Yeah, the mix is nice and fresh. This one is also kept on the drier side. It recently spiked, and its old spike is still here, which I have not cut off. I will not be repotting this guy at all. The roots are happy. It is potted in cedar mulch, cypress mulch, sorry, organic cypress mulch untreated, which I actually use as a potting mix because I get a big bag for like $3. I no longer use bark because yeah, it is expensive. My Tuberolabium cotoense, which is not a Phalaenopsis, sustained some cold damage and heat damage once, but now it is growing fresh, happy roots into the moss, which is also still quite fresh. This is potted in lava rock, so I will not be repotting it anytime soon. The moss also does not need to be topped off. Another thing you can consider doing for your fowls, as many of them like heavy feeding, put some granules on the top. That will actually go a long way to keep them well fed, especially if you're not really feeding much when you are watering. Okay, so don't be afraid of experimenting with your potting media for your Phalaenopsis, don't, you know, sometimes one size fits all is not really the way to go. You know, you have to figure each of them out, and that tends to be the way towards success for me. Learning slowly but surely what each of them need. You know, I hope you guys are having a good day today, and hope you take some time to enjoy the scent of your flowers, the look of the flowers, and hopefully I imparted some important tips or helpful tips to you. If you have any other Phalaenopsis growing tips, drop them in the comments, because some people actually would really appreciate it. They really would. These are my other phals. They're not really doing much, so we're gonna leave them alone. They're happy. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day, the rest of your day, whenever you're watching this. Take care. Goodbye.